there! Right there!
What is the deal, man?
Does anyone want this? Does anyone want this? Does anyone want this?
Battle Royale. Be advised, gas is closing in. Proceed to the safe zone.
Wait, I'll take that.
Hey everyone, this is Tim from Your 6 Game, and today in this video I'm going to show you how to turn on the cross-platform voice chat on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So let's go ahead and press the options button on our controller right now and bring open the options. Now we're going to start over on the left-hand side. Let's scroll over to
Objectives updated. Move to the next location.
and we'll have the option to enable voice chat right here. And when you select this, you can go ahead and you'll accept party, mute everyone, accept friends, and that uses a lot in the 10%.
Oh, you motherfucker. Fucker.
But if you are having issues talking to people, if you go to enable, then disable it, and then try enabling
Welcome
again,
to the
and
gulag.
sometimes
If you survive, you earn your
you
freedom.
can go ahead and talk to people again. To have your overall recording set at about 3.6 or to about 6. Otherwise, your low end sounds like your little clicks on the keyboard or your controller will be
Fight's
picked up
begun.
on the microphone. And I just have
Get ready
my
to fight.
voice
You're
chat
next.
calling now right now.
Let's go.
Listen up, soldier. Win here and you return to the front line. But if you lose, you're done. You're up, soldier. Now go sort this fucker out. Looking a little worse for wear. You're heading back to base. Your team can still buy you back if they have the cash.
Default valve. And you can go ahead and test your the left and the right. So there, right there, and this is really nice and fun right here. Voice text. You're gonna have kind of like you're chatting over the way. By going to no effect, if just like talking to chat around there, and just I always put no much clear audio. And it will cross.
Objectives updated. Move to the next location. Be advised, there's an enemy
I
team
see
hunting
movement.
you.
Mark out moving.
Your teammate was sent to the gulag. They'll fight for a chance to redeploy.
Mark the buy station.
Stay up.
Don't shoot me, you bastard!
All in 1990, I heard three guys on dope farm. There's always been rumors of legendary woods.
Woods is gonna take me out.
Hold. Cancel that. Assault rifle. Hold. Cancel that. Found some body armor.
Area recon
Friendly
coming up.
UAV overhead.
Indicating waypoint.
Primary objective accomplished. All supply boxes found.
Let's take it. Acknowledge waypoint
Friendly
towards.
loadout drop on the way. Friendly UAV overhead.
Marking target location. Single shooter.
You know, he sounded like the bird. The fuck?
The enemy lost track of you. You're safe. Friendly UAV overhead.
I'll take the wheel. I'm driving.
Good.
I'll run it off.
What the
Damn
freak?
it!
Friendly loadout drop on the way.
Okay.
Stupid fucking damn game.
Warfare. So let's go ahead and press the options button on our controller right now and bring open the options menu. Now it's going to start over on the left hand side. Let's scroll over to audio and then going down, and we'll have the option to enable voice. Voice chat right here, and when you select this, you can go ahead and mute everyone to accept party, mute everyone accept friends. And I use this a lot in the 10 vs 10 or ground war modes when I want to talk to my friends and not 32 other people. So that's nice to have on. But if you are having issues talking to people, if you go to enable, then disable it, and then try enabling again, and sometimes this works and you can go ahead and talk to your friends again. And it's nice to have your open mic threshold recording set at about 3.6 or to about 6. Otherwise, your low end sounds like your little clicks on the keyboard or your controller will be picked up in the microphone. And I like
Welcome back, guys. So this is the Season 2 audio guide. Now, if your microphone can't be heard by other players in the game, or they say to you, oh, you keep cutting out, or your audio settings are not right and you can't hear other people in the game, well, you're in the right place, guys. The audio has serious issues, which means you cannot hear the voice chat of certain players, which means your voice chat keeps cutting out and you don't know. Now, there's been a lot of hype around what settings are right, what settings are wrong, so I've been asked to come through and show you the right settings and the best settings for each environment, and to make sure that your microphone can be heard by other players. Because obviously, the Call of Duty devs think it's really important that you're heard and your experience in-game is the best it can be. So with that being said, let's get into the Season 2 audio settings guide and how you can fix your audio settings issue. So guys, the first and the most important problem first, my microphone keeps cutting out, people say. I don't notice. If your microphone's cutting out, you're not going to notice, and it's this here that's the problem, guys. It's the open mic threshold recording. What we find players report is, they report that people said I couldn't be heard. So what they do is they do a test here. Now if you press here, guys, watch this. So I'm on this setting here, and I press L3. This is the microphone test. You can see the microphone here working as I speak. Now if I go louder, you can see it going into the yellow, and then into the red, speak up even louder. So what's happening is people are thinking that if you turn this up, then this, of course, turns your microphone up.
Hello.
Now, what you can see is turn the microphone right up, and that's what players are doing. That is what you should not do, guys. This is not the microphone level that you need to turn to 100%, and this will not help you. This will ensure that all the time I'm speaking now, I cannot be heard in game. The threshold now for the microphone to pick up and send it through the internet is all the way up here at 98%. So there's no sound going to be sent through unless I scream, and even then you will only hear the slightest high. So what you need to do is bring this right back down, guys. And as you can see, my voice now is below the black bar, so now it can be heard, but I will still cut out as I talk below the black bar. So what you need to do is we set this by default, guys. We set the default with L2 APC. Now it's set to 3.16, I believe, originally. I'll try here if it resets the tab. So I'll reset the option, I think it's 3.16. That's what we've got the setting on initially, guys. So that will ensure you'll be heard. So leave that alone. Voice chat volume. If you can't hear other players, we do know there's an issue over the VoIP with the game and their sound. So what you need to do is you need to bring this from 100, which is quite low, and you will not hear many players, you will find, to about 120, 130 is the recommended. Now we on this account, guys, we use 110 because that's applicable and it's acceptable at this level, but you will find with some players it's not. I would recommend personally that you look at 135, it's an ideal setting, or 136 you can see here we can go for. So that's ideal. So set this at 130, 120, whatever your preferred setting. I would recommend 135 to hear other players. Microphone volume, guys. This is what, there was a lot of hype between this and this. So remember, that's not the volume, that's the threshold. If you turn that up, your recording will not be picked up and sent over the VoIP internet. So keep it at 316, leave it alone. This is the volume. As you can see, my volume default set on this account, guys, is 126. And that's what we prefer as a default set. Now you might ask, why don't the devs just reset the settings and put 126 as the 100 here, put that as 0, and put that 110 or 120 as the 100, and basically default the higher levels? Because some people need to turn it down a bit, guys. They have specialist equipment, they have recording equipment, streaming equipment, and that's why the default is lower. But we accept that it needs to go up, and I think this will really help you improve your sound level in game and ensure that you can be heard by your teammates. So we're looking at 316, 135 I would recommend here. That's so you can hear the other players, and that's so the other players can hear you better, guys. You need to be turning this up. I recommend here a 126, maybe 130. I wouldn't really go over 130. As you can see here, if I test this here, so I've got the microphone test on now, it's showing grey. You really want it in the middle, so watch, to get it in the middle, this is what it takes, guys. So look, that's what it takes to get it at an acceptable level. So that's how low it is naturally set. So when we go back to 100, watch, it is naturally set really low, and you wonder, well, wait a minute, Star, why do you put it only on 135, 136? That's what I find it's acceptable on this account, guys, that we just use here for testing. But if you find you need more, then go more. I wouldn't recommend you go up to more than 150 because you will then get distortion when you raise your voice, as you do find you will do in team games like this. So that's really the microphone and the chat features here, guys, and that's the most important one I want you to get to. Now we can go over some of the other settings. Here we've got the master volume, 100%, guys, unless you need to turn it down for recording or streaming. Music volume, that's preference, I do prefer myself around 85, but if you want the music up, that's great. Dialogue volume, 90 is a really good number. It really just brings down the voice of the players that talk. For instance, your character talking. Effects volume, 100 can be a bit tinny. If you find it a bit tinny, bring it down to maybe 90, but you do want it up for the footsteps. Juggernaut music, it depends. Do you want the Juggernaut suit going off or not? Now this is the most important setting, guys. This is a very important, and this is your audio mix. Now, how you test this, guys, is you can go on here and you press R3. You can go on here just to do this and you can just test it there. But it doesn't really give you much information. And you can hear there's differences. But what do them differences mean? Well, you just press in R3 on the console, guys, and you can see here what the differences mean. Now, which is the default? The default is the one with the green flashing, so that's what is recommended by the dev. You can hear there it's got a good boost. So this has got a low range. The low range on the left here is brought down, so it's boosting up, and then the mid-range here on the right comes up a bit. But if we start from the studio reference, so that's just a simple path, you can see that we get a recommended level. Now the recommended level for the studio reference is 75 decibels. What that means is, guys, you're going to have to be playing this pretty loud to hear all the good sound effects that you want to be hearing, and to get all the good music and the footsteps and the gunfire. You're going to have to be playing this pretty loud. If you're not on a cinema system, let's say at 50% of its maximum volume, which is going to be loud, then maybe go for this, because this only needs 65 decibels. Now you see here it's got maximum dynamic range. The dynamic range is around the mid-center just here. If you go for the halfway line and go up just a quarter to the right, that's around your dynamic range there. That's where you get the maximum dynamic range. So you can see here, high dynamic range, it's touched up. That's where your dynamic range is. The nice like tinny treble music, that could be your dynamic range, you could say. That's a good way of looking at it. If you've got a home theater, you might want to set this. So on the right hand side here, we've got your highs and your trebles, it's dropped down. On the left side here, we've got your lows, they're your basses, that's dropped down as well. But then on the end, you've got your kick bass brought right up. So that's called moderate dynamic range as it goes down, and that's recommended at 55 decibels. So the reason I mentioned decibels, guys, is the decibels is a good way at looking at what you want to set here. For instance, if you're going to use high volume, then you could use the studio reference because it's recommended at high volume. And then here is recommended at slightly lower volume, so you could use the dynamic home theater range. And then the home theater range, you need again setting. They're brought down again. You've got a nice bass line, and that's why it's called boost. It's boosted sound. So that is a really ideal track. Boost high. You can see here the dynamic range here is brought right up on the center. On the left, the bass kicks up, and on the right, the treble just stays neutral. So that's going for more bassy sounds. In the center is where you'll get the voice. So if, for instance, the voice that you hear now in this video is around the center here, and that is more where you get voices. So if you're interested in hearing voices in game, for instance, whether it be you're doing a mystery, a neat little Easter egg, or something like that, where you need to hear the voices, or you just want to hear players' voices, for instance, when they're calling out quips, then this is the ideal type of track. And then we've got boost low. So low again is the left, guys, high is the right. So dynamic range on the right here is brought down, that's all the trebles are down, all the sharp sounds. On the left you've got the bass, it kicks up on the end, so that's going to give you a real heavy boom. And then just down from that we've got a dip, a little U-shape, that's bringing the bass that goes more towards moderate mid-range, that's bringing that down, and then going over again towards the voices like we said in the middle, you've got a big kick up. So that's a really good heavy track there, we're moving all the highs on the right and keeping the lows on the left. Which one's best, guys? Well, I'll go through them, listen.